All right, and so we are back. I am going to be showing you how I do my kale chips. And just for starters, here are the ingredients you may have seen. If you haven't, go back and look at my video where I talk about where I got these beautifully organically grown kale locally here in the Charlotte area. And this is just two bunches of beautiful kale. So we're going to start with the kale, of course, because that's the star of the show, right? And then in this bowl here, I have already mixed 1.5 teaspoons, well, excuse me, half a teaspoon of pepper, 1.25 teaspoon of garlic powder. It calls for half a teaspoon of salt, but I use 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then I just mixed it all up together to combine it instead of sprinkling it all individually. And some pieces will get in, some pieces don't. It's best to sometimes just, go ahead and mix it up. Well, all the time, just to mix it up so it's evenly spread out. And then I have some tahini sauce here. And here's the tahini sauce that I use. And in case you don't know what tahini is, ground sesame seeds. There you have it. And so it does not have any trans fat or cholesterol. This is a really healthy, well, two tablespoons of it. Got tongue tied. 2 tablespoons of it does have 220 calories, but it only has 4 grams of carb and 3 grams of fiber, which when you subtract it, you're only getting 1 gram of net carb. So that's really good. 7 grams of protein. No cholesterol, like I said. It does have 18 grams of fat, so that's 24% of your daily diet. That's if you're just taking 2 tablespoons, but this is going into the whole recipe, and you're not really going to be eating 2 tablespoons. So understand that as well, okay? And as far as saturated fat, it does have 3 grams of that. Sodium, in case anybody was wondering, 25 milligrams, which is 1% of the daily vitamins. And in terms of iron, it does have 8% and 2% of calcium. So in the grams, is 3 milligrams of iron, which is 8%, and 30 milligrams of calcium, which is 2% of your diet. 110 milligrams of potassium, that's 2%. There's no preservatives, no artificial ingredients in this. Okay, so that's the skinny on the tahini. So I will be using only a cup instead of 1.25 cups of tahini. And then also I have the juice of only 2 lemons instead of 3. I just chose to scale it back because I know how much I have and what I want it to taste like, but you will, make this as to your own likings. Oh, and I neglected to say I do have 3/4 cups of water. Okay, so let's go ahead and you can either opt to just tear it into big chips like this. You can just do it with your hand, or you can opt to cut it. What I'm going to do is to cut it. I just wanted to show you, you can tear it into larger chips. You can tear this in half. I like the stems. Stems have a lot of nutritional value. So personally, I don't get rid of stems, but you can get rid of the stems and you can go ahead and tear it off from the stem like so, and just throw the stem away. All right, so let me go ahead and get to cutting this kale up. So actually, I decided before we cut the kale up, let's just go ahead and get this mixture mixed up. So I'm just going to put all the ingredients in a bowl here. All right, so we're going to start with our tahini. Just go ahead and put that in the bowl. I love tahini. Have you ever tried tahini? Do you like tahini out there? I like tahini because tahini, I love falafel. I will be doing that recipe as well. I put tahini in my hummus, so I'm a tahini lover. Okay, so next we'll put the seasoning in no particular order. Just add your ingredients. We'll put the lemon juice, and we'll add a little bit of the water. I'm just going to see how thick this is, and I could get a whisk and whisk it together, but I'm just using one utensil here, so just to save on washing the dishes. And I don't know, I could have, in my opinion, used a little bit less water, but we'll see how much this soaks up the kale chips once we get it all cut up. And then I may not use all of this and because of the amount of kale chips that I do have. So and it depends on how thick your tahini is, because I did water down the tahini a little bit because my tahini was super thick, so I could have used a little bit less water, but we'll see. We'll work it out. So let's set this aside. And let's get our kale chips and our knife. Get our bowl here. And I'm just going to cut up some of them on camera, and then the rest I will cut off camera because you don't need to sit here and see me cut up all the kale chips, right? So it's basically just take a bunch. I washed them off and I got off as much water as I could because you don't want to steam them. In fact, this has a good bit of water, so let me go off camera and just dry them again, and then I'll come back and cut them. And just to show you what I'm doing, you can take a clean cloth, and in my instance, I'm just taking a paper towel and just dabbing them and just getting as much moisture off of the kale chips as I can, because when I put them in the oven, I want them to be as crispy as possible and not steam. So another thing is you may have to do it in 2 batches. I have a great deal, so I'm going to have to do it in 2 batches, or just use my other cookie sheet and just put it in 2 separate pans. And as you see, I did drain them and I did dry them off, but it still managed to collect some moisture, as you see. So yeah, it's good to just go ahead and just make sure you get them as dry as possible. All right, and it's just like a rough chop, it's nothing too uniform. You just get a bunch of them and just chop them up. So you can, chop off some of the stems like I said, or you can choose to leave them. And you can make them about this size, or you can make them smaller, but they're chips. So, you can make them smaller if you want. It's up to you. There's no right or wrong way to do this, in my opinion. It's a matter of what it is you want, what your preference is. All right. So now that you saw how I chopped them up, I'm just going to go off camera and finish the rest of these. All right. So we're back, and I do have my beautiful kale all cut up and chopped up into large pieces like I like. There are some small pieces, randomly small pieces. I do have my gloves on because we're going to mix it with our hands, and so that's why I put my gloves on. So next step is to take the sauce and just pour it, drizzle it, mix it in. Let's see here. I'm going to stop and use this amount, and then we're going to see how this looks and how it gets over the kale. Now, I do have a bigger bowl, much larger than this and much wider. I suggest you use that if you have one that's larger than this. If not, just make sure you get everything all mixed up. I mean, you use what you have. Or if you're like my grandma, if she didn't have a big, gigantic Tupperware. How many of you remember your grandmother having that big, it's green Tupperware? I don't know if it came in other colors. It probably did. But hers was green. And it was a big Tupperware bowl, wider than this, and it had, of course, the plastic lid. And she made her potato salad, so that was her potato salad bowl. So I remember that, and I wish I still had that just for nostalgia. Actually, my mother had one, so I actually do have one. I just don't use it. I'm going to start using that. But I do have a large salad bowl. It's really wide that I did purchase. So you see how the tahini sauce, it's coated on all of them really good. Now, if you want more, you can add more. But I think that I'm not going to add any more because I don't want it to have, again, too much moisture. And remember, I did add water to it. So, because the tahini was super, super thick. All right. So now that this is all mixed up and massaged, as I'm mixing it, I'm massaging the kale. They always say massage your kale, massage it with love. They always say that. You always see that on cooking. I don't know actually where that comes from or why. I don't know if it's a matter of making sure you get everything in all of the crevices that they say to massage the kale, or is that just a culinary thing? It's kind of a monkey see, monkey do, and some people really don't know why they're saying it. They just see it on other professional channels or cooking. They haven't gone to cooking school, and they just repeat what they see. So I don't know what it is. If any of you have gone to culinary school, or if any of you know the answer without cheating and going to Google and then coming back and putting the answer down, making everyone think that you're super duper smart, and to which you are because you took the smart way. You went and looked on Google. But drop it in the comments if you know why they say to massage the kale. I haven't looked it up. So, look it up and drop it in the comments. And if you are, have you gone to culinary school and you know the answer, just let us know. Hey, I went to culinary school at, Johnson & Wales or whatever. Or, I learned from Emerald. Whatever happened to Emerald? Is he still cooking? Anybody knows? Yeah, just drop it in the comments. All right, so this is massaged enough for me. So next, what we're going to do is just go ahead and put it in on our cookie sheet and get it all spread out. So let me just remove this glove and keep one gloved hand and just move things aside here. And I'm going to put my cookie sheet. Now, don't come for me in the comments about my cookie sheet. I'm repurposing it. This is just a drop of oil where something just spilled over. But, you know, this is a parchment, piece of parchment paper. Of course, you can use more, but I repurpose things. I mean, come on. You all there know that you and your mom or your grandmom repurposed things, okay? Especially foil. You know, they had that aluminum foil just like folded up, or plastic bags, or whatever else it is. You know that things have been repurposed in your house, so don't act like you're brand new, okay? Thank you. So make sure you're liking, like, share, and subscribe this. Make sure you make a comment, interact with this video so that this can be shown to other people who may want to know, how do you make kale chips? They may want to see different recipes with different ingredients other than what they know. And so, yeah, make sure that you're interacting so that YouTube or the algorithm will pick this up and will share it, you know, with other people. And I always say, you know, treat me like you do these celebrities that you follow, and you like and comment on everything that they do and share everything that they do simply because they are a celebrity. Now I'm going to put it in the oven. Some of you may want to choose to spritz like a olive oil or something in it. That's up to you if you want to do that. I want to avoid as much fat as I can because there's fat in the tahini. So I'm going to use the fat from the tahini instead of spraying it with olive oil and let it crisp up. So my oven has been preheated to 250 degrees. And we're going to bake this for about 20 to 30 minutes. We'll check it. And then I'm going to put the other half in another cookie sheet. So I'm going to do 2 batches of it. So let's get this in the oven, and then I'll come back and let you know how it turned out. So I just wanted to show you my 2 batches. I have one on the lower rack and one on the upper rack. And so we're going to go ahead and let those do its thing and bake for about 20 to 25 minutes. We'll see you. And so I'm back after about 20 minutes. I'm taking them out of the oven. And here is the finished product. Oh my goodness. Kale chips, guys. You can hear how crispy they are. These are mine, so I'm using them with my hands, you know. And so as you can see, this is the tahini sauce that has dried up and baked on. You hear how crispy they are. And I'm going to taste one. Really good. You can taste the garlic, the tahini, the onion powder. It is really good. And guys, if you want to put other seasonings on it that you favor, go right ahead. I mean, I can't even taste that much of the lemon. I do taste a hint of the lemon. But I would put even more garlic in it because you know I like garlic. The next time I'm going to try my famous roasted vegetable fries. Guys, I just love this. I talk about this all the time. And I link it in the description if you guys want to try it. It's really good. It brings out such a good flavor for your vegetables. So I'm going to try that. And then I'm also going to, because you know I love everything curry. Never had curry kale chips before. But you know, I'm going to use that. And you know, you can put different seasonings, different flavors on it, and see, even with the stem on it, you're getting the extra nutrients that are in the stem. So don't cut the stem off, and that makes it more crunchy as well. So what I'm going to do is just put this in a bag. In a baggie, you can put it in a container of your choice, a bowl with a seal on it. But I'm just going to put it in a baggie, you know, and just, you know, keep it that way. Now, if you want to reheat it up, if you find that it loses its crunch and you want to reheat it up, by all means, go ahead and do that. All right. And so these won't last too long because they're, number one, they're vegetables, and number two, it's like a snack food as well as something that is just, you know, just healthy for you to have as a snack option. And it gives you just another way of getting your nutrients and your vegetables in. You know, if you don't want to eat raw vegetables, which is always good because that's where all the nutrients is, but or if you don't want to cook it, well, you can just make you some kale chips. And this is another alternative from just eating regular potato chips. You understand? So that's it. That's what I wanted to show you, how I make my kale chips. And hopefully, you know, you guys have gotten some inspiration to go ahead and make it yourself now that you see how easy it is to make. And just keep, and you can take it with you, put it in a smaller bag and just take it with you when you're out and about. And, you know, you can just snack on that instead of, you know, just going to fast food or getting something that's bad and high in calories and fat and all that other stuff. That's only if you're trying to do better. But you know, I've been doing this before the surgery. I'm just showing you guys how life is for me post vertical sleeve gastrectomy, post weight loss surgery, and that life is normal, and you know, you can do it. So like, share, subscribe, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up so that it can be shared with others, and stay tuned for some other videos that I have. You know, again, this is a lifestyle channel. So as always, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Take care and be well. Bye-bye.